So it's 2023, everyone is losing their heads over Diablo 4, competing against each other to see who can get to level 100 first, looking for the secret cow level, and in the meantime, I had just finished Diablo 2 and was thinking if I should play the third one or just move on to the fourth. Up to that point, I didn't know much about the game and I heard totally opposite opinions. While some people told me it was a disgrace to the saga, others said that Diablo 3 was their favorite Diablo game. So I decided to create an opinion of my own, and the only way to do that is by trying it yourself. Like in any game in existence, there is some stuff that I really like that I feel makes this game unique and fun in its own way, and there is some particular things that I didn't enjoy that much. Let's just start with the good stuff. The game has 7 classes to choose from. I did my first playthrough with the Necromancer, which was an amazing pick, and later on I created a seasonal Demon Hunter, but more on that later. Something I really like is that each class has their own intro, and on top of that, the voice actually changes depending if you choose male or female as a character, and throughout the game your character will be narrating the events in the cutscenes, which adds a lot of personality to your adventure and some variation too. As soon as you get into the game, you can feel how stronger you are compared to the enemies, and that's one of the key differences in this game. Diablo 3 is meant for you to feel like a god. Like it or not, it's justified by the fact that you're a Nephilim, one of the most powerful races in Diablo lore. I know that technically everyone is a Nephilim without power because of what Inarius did, but I don't want to get into that much detail. So like I said, this is what mainly sets Diablo 3 apart. You can destroy waves of enemies without much effort. Obviously they get tougher with time, but so do you. This game at first is not much about the challenge, but about the fun of fighting and killing bands after bands of enemies. If this is not something you like, you can always fix that by increasing the difficulty, which gives you a more challenging experience alongside increased gold and rewards. I did that and fought the Butcher and Master. And I can tell you that I had a hard time. It took me many attempts to win this fight, but it felt amazing once I did. So if you like feeling extremely powerful or you like hard challenges, you can always tailor the experience to your liking. There is a Diablo 3 for everyone. Personally, I try to always keep the gameplay fun and fast while still maintaining some type of challenge. And in my opinion, even though different, the gameplay mechanics are really fun and worthy on their own to play this game. Another thing I really loved is how much lore you get. Of course, you have all the conversations with NPCs that give you a lot of backstory, but also in dungeons you can find these audio files that tells you information on enemies, people, important characters, and more. Some of these are found in optional dungeons, which gives you extra motivation to run them other than just killing enemies and getting XP. And that takes us to the story. I won't tell any major spoilers just in case someone is watching to decide if they play the game or not, but I can tell you Blizzard took a more fantasy approach in Diablo 3. In the way that you're basically a superhero among normal people. They talk to you like one of a kind, and you fight the major threat the burning hells can conceive. Much greater threat than Lilith or any other boss if you ask me. The thing is that even though really bad things do happen in this game, the story is without a doubt less dark and gritty compared to other Diablo games. This could be better or worse depending on your preferences. For me, even though I did enjoy the story, I prefer the dark tone of the other entries of the Diablo saga. That being said, the things that happen in Diablo 3 are really important to the story in general, and you travel to some pretty interesting places that if you are into Diablo lore like me, you wouldn't want to miss for anything in the world. Now, there is no skill tree like in Diablo 2 or 4. In here, you unlock skills as you level up. I do prefer skill trees to be honest, but the positive side of this is that you always have every skill at your disposal, without having to worry about skill points, and that gives you like plenty of freedom to test, tweak, and play with different builds as you go without much effort. Each skill has a set of runes, which each one gives the skill an extra effect and most importantly a damage type. So depending on the rune you pick for your ability, this will turn into poison damage, cold damage, blood damage, etc. And of course, enemies have resistance to a specific type of damage, so you have to play around this mechanic at higher difficulties. And my favorite part of the game is that once you beat the campaign, you can go into this adventure mode where the world basically turns into your playground. Now you can travel to any waypoint of any map. The enemies are going to scale with your level, so you can start at the last act at level 1 if that's what you want. There are bounties to complete in each place. You can revisit the bosses you fought through the campaign, and each time you get out and back in the game, the bounties and boss reset, so you can basically do this forever. Set objectives are not that extremely hard to complete, but they do give you a mission to follow, an extra meaning to what you're doing, and a goal to focus on. And I haven't even talked about the rifts and other endgame stuff that I have still to fully experience myself. I plan on finishing this game completely, trying to get most if not all of the achievements, so I'll give an updated opinion on that once I finish everything. Now, because nothing is perfect, let's move on to the few things I didn't like. First of all, even though I appreciate this being a different experience from the Diablo saga, I do prefer having a more down-to-earth character, if that makes sense in a franchise like this. with a more serious and darker tone that this game lacks. Again, that is just personal preference. The art style of Diablo 3 also follows that increased fantasy theme. It looks more like World of Warcraft. Again, this is personal preference. Even though I do enjoy these cartoony graphics, if I had to choose, I would totally say with Diablo 1, 2, or 4 really sick and darker style. And last but not least, some specific things that happened throughout the story didn't make that much sense to me, at least not the way they happened. Some important events that take place have an interesting and impactful outcome, but the way they happened wasn't particularly worthy in my opinion, if that makes any sense. It's difficult to explain without spoiling you guys, but the ones who have played it hopefully will understand what I mean. It's important to say that the game has come a long way. I didn't experience the transition from Diablo 1.0 to what we have now, but I've been told about it. Something that most of the people that I've talked to agree on is that Diablo 3 is much better now than it was. Some people have also told me they used to despise the game, and now they love it after giving it another opportunity. So keep that in mind if you have not given this game a second try. In conclusion, Diablo 3, while not perfect, is one of the best ARPG experiences you can get in 2023. You may like it as a Diablo game or not, but it's definitely an outstanding ARPG. If not for the gameplay, you should give it a shot for the story and lore. You're gonna learn a lot from this game, definitely worth it even if you are currently playing Diablo 4. This is a different and unique experience from any other Diablo game. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think of the game. Just be polite and don't insult my mom, please. And I'll see you next time.